President Zelensky.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
This is one of the weirdest true stories I've ever seen in my life.
The TV talent show League of Laughter regularly gets some of the highest ratings in the country.
Okay. In college, Volodymyr Zelensky began competing in this thing called the KVN, or KBH in Russian. Now, this thing is a huge deal in the former Soviet republics. It's continuously one of the highest rated shows in virtually every country in the Eastern Bloc, and it's spread to Russian expat communities all over the world. This is a clip from a youth KVN in the United Kingdom. So Zelensky starts competing in this thing in college, and he forms a team or a group to compete with called Kvartal 95, which is Quarter 95, named after the neighborhood he grew up in Kyiv. He eventually went on to win this whole competition with his team. There's like small regional competitions and national competitions, and then the winners of those go and compete in the international competition in Moscow or at the festival that they have now in Israel. This thing's a much bigger deal than I thought it was. Even Putin goes to the international competition. He goes on stage, he congratulates contestants. It's a huge deal. So after Kvartal 95 wins the international competition, they form a production company under the same name. And over the next several years, produce several of Ukraine's most popular television shows. They had a long-running evening comedy show called Evening Quarter, this show, The In-Laws, and then this one, Servant of the People. This is where it starts to get a little bit weird.
Да. Доброе утро, господин президент.
So the basic plot is this. A very average history teacher from a high school in Ukraine is having a private conversation with another teacher, and he gets very heated and goes on this rant about corruption in the government. A student is watching this conversation through a window, and he films it and puts it on YouTube, where it goes viral. And through a subsequent series of events, this high school teacher is then elected to be president. The show was created by Zelensky. He is the executive producer, and he is the lead actor who plays the history teacher / president. Now, season 1 was aired in 2015, and it was a hit in Ukraine. They created a movie the next year, Servant of the People 2, and then another season came out in 2017. Fast forward to March 31st, 2018, members of Kvartal 95 officially register a political party under the same name as the television show, Servant of the People. Now, when asked about this by journalists, Zelensky says, "We just wanted to protect the name. We didn't want anyone else to use it as a possible piece of political leverage. We're not actually planning to have a political party here." He kind of offhandedly says, "Well, we'll see." But then 5 months later, in November 2018, billboards for Servant of the People start appearing all across Ukraine. And on New Year's Eve, Zelensky announces his candidacy for president.
Мы встретим Новый год и продолжим вечерний квартал.
This whole thing just feels like it's out of a comic book or something. The president before Zelensky, Petro Poroshenko, was an oligarch billionaire who made his money in confectionery products, so much so that it earned him the name the Chocolate King. So we have a young comedian running a social media viral campaign fighting against government corruption, who's going up against a billionaire oligarch named the Chocolate King. By the time Zelensky announced his candidacy for presidency, he was already the front runner in the polls. People had been speculating about him running for months. He'd been constantly saying he wasn't going to do it. But he was then leading in the polls, 28% to Poroshenko's 16%. So over the next 4 months after his announcement, Zelensky ran an almost entirely virtual campaign in this very personable vlog style with like these personal handheld videos that he would post on social media, to the point where on the 16th of April 2019, 20 different news agencies across Ukraine created a collective front and signed a document requesting that Zelensky stop avoiding journalists. In response, Zelensky said that he did not want to go onto the main media outlets where, quote, people of the old guard were doing PR, and he wanted to run his own campaign speaking directly to the people. There was virtually no policy discussions. He never posted a platform for policy. He never said what he wanted to do except for two things. Number one, fight corruption in the government, and number two, end the war in the Donbas region. Now, it's really hard to tell whether this was a beautifully played long game from the very beginning, where he created the television show, created the plot, and set it up for his own run for president, or whether it just sort of happened and people started speculating that he was going to run, and he started leading in the polls, and he thought, well, you know, why not? The only time he went on the main media outlets was 2 days before the election, when he agreed to one debate. Well, actually two debates on the same day with Petro Poroshenko. And they set it up as a festival. They got the Olympic Stadium in Ukraine. Tens of thousands of people came. There was supposed to be one debate in the morning and one in the evening. And the first one went very well for Zelensky, and he just refused to show up for the second one, saying there has been enough debating for one day. So what we have here is a man who created a television show in order to play a character who ran for president on the basis of a viral social media campaign, which was centered around talking about corruption in the current government. That actor then went on to run a viral social media campaign talking about corruption in the government and win the election and become president of his country. He won the second round of elections with 73% of the vote. That is a landslide. That is one of the biggest victories in politics. But this didn't really give him any real power, because he was a new party and his party had no seats in parliament. So the president couldn't do a lot on his own. So his first speech to the parliament, he disillusioned the parliament, called for snap elections, and in the resulting election a couple of months later, Servant of the People Party won a full majority of parliament, making it the only time in Ukrainian history when one party controlled the entire government. Many of the members of Kvartal 95 joined Zelensky's administration as deputy heads of the presidential administration of Ukraine. One was actually appointed to become the deputy head of the Ukrainian Secret Service.
The war has become a brutal artillery battle waged along a jagged front in southern and eastern Ukraine.
It's my city, it's my hometown, it's my homeland, it's my country, and I'm not the one who should leave. The Russians are the one who should leave.
My heart goes out to the people of Ukraine and everything that they are going through. If you guys would like to donate to a charity that is helping refugees from the war, I left a link in the description. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.